Hello guys, welcome to another episode of our Nothing podcast. Elemeja and Kule are currently trading places. One of them is going to go, the other one will come back and every other thing. But at some point, we just have to be grateful that Kule is here after missing out last week due to technical difficulties. Nigeria can happen to you, like I mentioned. Kule, welcome back to the About Nothing podcast.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. And honestly, technical difficulties have not even disappeared yet because the moment this podcast got to brain has started. So at this point, is fingers crossed because this country has tired me.
Say, you won't even raise in Lagos every day, bullish. Like the kind of fear you have, like especially that Saturday's rain and the thunder. At some point, I was worried that the sinners are too much in this Lagos.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Fornication. You people are fornication. That's the problem in Lagos. You are fornicating too much.
what's you
That's why
people? You are speaking for yourself.
Ah, you're number one on the leaderboard now. There's a post on Instagram about your fornication exploits.
I
I'll
don't
share
I
the
don't know
link.
anything. Okay, no problem. I'll
I'll
let
share
you
the
see
tweet
the
with
link
our
to
fans.
because I'm not even that popular. I think the best place to start bullish is the Formula One because exciting weekend, especially for haters of Red Bull and stuff like that. Like it was a good week. It turned out to be a good weekend on Sunday, but the crazy part started from Saturday where Verstappen impeded about three vehicles during qualifying. He did it multiple times during qualifying. And because your car was slow and stuff like that, a lot of people expected that okay, the FIA announced that we're investigating, we'll punish him. Then for some reason you're like, yeah, let's do nothing. And you invited him to the room for investigation. He didn't show up. You didn't punish him. To make matters worse, at the start of the week, at the start of last week, Helmut Marko, the Red Bull director, like total Red Bull director, both for AlphaTauri and the Red Bull team, came out and said, "Oh, the reason why Verstappen is more successful than Sergio Perez is because Sergio Perez is South American. They don't have the concentration of an European, which is purely racist, absolutely 100% racist." And the next thing the FIA did was, "Oh, we have sent a letter to him to warn him that he should stop saying things like that. Do you understand? Stop misbehaving." We have sent a letter to him, and you're wondering that this is a sport that has been marred by racism right from its onset to this very point. A most successful driver is black and he faces racism every time. And at this point, Formula One does not even hide it anymore. But okay, yeah, we're racist, kill us.
So I don't think I even need to touch on that because I think it's clear to anybody that can see or observe that number one, like the leaders at the edge of Formula One, they are racist. And if there's anything to prove, if you are for some reason you are just coming out of a cave in the last 10 years, you have not seen or you don't understand what is going on, just go and look at what happened in the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where because the only reason or the only way that law or that rule or that particular stance was taken at that moment was because Lewis was about to win the championship. If it was someone else, I can bet you 100% if they will have followed the proper guideline and then they will have just made sure that whoever was in front was still going to win. The only problem was that Lewis was about to become 8th champion, the highest ever. Even the great Schumacher had 7. So it was serious panic mode for them. Now, regarding selectivity in how they, I think if you go back from what happened in 2021, it probably will inform why someone that should have maybe 20 grid penalty did not get any kind of penalty at all because he didn't impede just one driver, he impeded 2 drivers, and it almost looked like his car should not be out there. He should have retired the car or he was having problem with the shift, but he felt like he was just trying to force it, and he could have caused a lot of trouble for so many drivers. So the fact that he did not get the grid penalty is just clear indication of what we are talking about. So at this point, I think they are the good thing about the race yesterday was that Singapore has always been a race where you can't be reckless. You can't just
Yep.
say you want to overtake without caution. If you are reckless, you land in the dash in the barriers, and that will be the end of your race for you. So that's the only beauty about yesterday, and that's why it was a bit difficult for Red Bull to impose their will on other cars the way they've done all through the season. But about the rules, I think it's clear for everyone to see that Formula One they only work in one way or maybe Christian Oma as the nudes of some of the the FIA leaders, because it's clearly biased towards the Red Bull team. I can almost feel it, or I can almost guess that if Hamilton should leave Mercedes and go to another team, Mercedes probably start enjoying better relationship with the rule makers.
Exactly what Toto said, that the new rules were made to stifle us. Like the new rules that were made at the start of 2021 and co were made to stifle us, that okay, what was Mercedes' strengths? What do they do best and stuff like that? Let's find a way to hamper this to the lowest. Let's find a way to, because now the fact that you're even pointing it out shows that if Hamilton decides tomorrow that okay, I want to cancel the new contract I just signed with Mercedes, I want to go and join Ferrari, the FIA will probably sit down and be like, what does Ferrari do?
It was the Ferrari as
yeah,
because
what does Ferrari do best?
it's very difficult for you to go as a team from a very high performing, very high trajectory car to now almost, it's almost as if you are playing at the middle barrel and you are just getting to closer to the top based on expertise of your drivers. The car itself is not a top 3 car, at least in the last 2 seasons.
Of course,
the car is not a middle level car. That means something really went, and it's not as if Mercedes don't have the budget. It's not as if they don't have the engineers or they don't have the skill men in their garage. It's just a case of what you have said, where the law has been done in such a way that it's so difficult for you to innovate around it. And because the engine and the car you are building, that you are moving from year to year, you cannot just discard the car and say, oh, because you just start and it's usually a continuous iteration of what you have. So they are. I'm sure a lot of people were not interested this season. There's a person I always have conversations with on Sundays about Formula One after the races. I chatted him on Saturday to find out how far did you follow the what's called the qualifying, and it's like, I've not seen the last 6 or 7 races. I don't have time for
it. I think the Singapore Grand Prix invigorated a lot of fans, because there was a lot of hype and discussion about Formula One this Saturday, like saying the fact that okay, this.
I also need to note that there are some Grand Prix that sell themselves because of the structure of the track, because of the historical things. For example, if we get to the Brazilian Grand Prix, it's going to sell itself because of the historical things that have happened on that track and how dangerous it is, and most likely rain will fall and it's always tricky, and it's not, you can get Charles Leclerc or something to come through, you can get crazy outcomes in Brazilian Grand Prix. So there are some tracks that will sell themselves because of the way they are built. So Singapore is one of those places where you know that 2-3 people will crash. It's just because of the way the corners are very tight. You have to
it's a street circuit, a lot of barriers.
You get a lot of barriers, so you have to. Same thing. I think Malaysia, Monaco, those Grand Prix that they
okay, Malaysia is not in Formula One anywhere. I think you're talking about Azerbaijan, Baku, Monaco, Singapore.
No, I'm talking not this season. I'm talking about Malaysian Grand Prix.
Even Malaysia was it was a track circuit as well, but it's not a street circuit like those two.
But the turns, the
turns, engine damages.
You always have crash. You always have uncertainty there.
Engine damages because of heat in Malaysia.
So I feel like if they don't modify what exactly, let there be. I think that's the same thing we're having, where there's no clear direct guideline that everything that affects everyone, that immediately one can see that in fairness, this rule is applying to everybody. It's not today, I'm looking at this rule, it does not apply to this person, but it applies to this person. It does. Like you cannot have a situation like that and expect interest. If people continue to watch football and every day there's one, it tune them off. So you need to correct stuff like that. So I don't know what will happen. Maybe Lewis has to retire, and then maybe if there's no longer any black person, maybe they will calm down and do their things properly. But so far so good. It has been terrible for them.
Last they'll be fine. Away from Formula One, Kule, because what really amazes me when it comes to my United fans is, I know, Polish knows, everybody going into that game against Brighton knew that all Brighton needed to do was they didn't need to be 100% because there was no Pervez Stupinian, no Evan Ferguson, like a few key players were missing for them as well. But all they needed to do was just come correct. Do you understand? Just let's do whatever it is that we do and do it basic. Then we'll win this game. But I think what we didn't expect was the manner with which they won that game. Like, I know Ten Hag seems like he's suffering from divisions of grandeur at this point. Because all this talk of, we're a bit unlucky, we're unfortunate, the world is against us, the referees' lines are drawn some kind of way, the cameras are not working. And the obvious question is, I know for a fact, like David says, there's a lot of leadership issues, the sale, whatever. But all these things should not get to the point where you are completely outplayed and outclassed by Brighton, and you cannot do anything.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even surprised by the results. We were like, we didn't expect Brighton to be dominant. I expected them more. If the match ended 5-1, I would not have been surprised at all. And strangely enough, this was probably United's best first half of the season, especially the first 20 minutes. But I think we are going to the point whereby Brighton are miles better than United, and everybody has accepted it. That United can try their best, and Brighton can have key players out and not even leave fourth gear and still win comfortably. The biggest worry for me is that it feels like United have reached their peak with Ten Hag. Because these 5 games, there hasn't really been improvement. There hasn't really been signs that, oh yes, something is getting, we are getting somewhere. I don't even want to come back to Solskjaer's era, but at least under Solskjaer, there was the fact that, okay, we are not really improving, but this week we play well under Qatar, like next week we might not play well. But it's like we are fluctuating, but it's something. Now, under Ten Hag, it felt like in this February and April there was improvement. Since then, United have kind of dropped off. Like they kind of reached their peak margin, and now the default is they're in a slope. It feels like nothing can really pick them up at this point. Because the moment Brighton scored first, you knew that game was done. Because the belief and everything was gone. Like, they could still beat us again. Let's just forget what's and move on. And even the way Ten Hag speaks, you can tell this is a manager that is scrambling. Because last 2 weeks ago it was the camera angles, there was a foul on Johnny Evans. Now it's fine that they are unlucky. They should have probably had the penalty. The angle for the ball crossing the line was not correct. You just feel like it's grasping at straws. It looks for something that works, and there's no greater sign of a desperate manager than that. Honestly, I feel like we might get to a point where we start discussing the fact that his time is numbered, and I worry we might get to a point where we start discussing less about if and more about when with his future.
Because now, Polish, what really amazes me is that I know that as a coach, you want to say these things in public, you wouldn't want to blame your team and stuff like that. But I don't want to believe you are in the dressing room telling your players that you are unlucky because you are not playing well. I can't.
No, I don't agree that. I don't agree that you don't want to blame your team and you don't want to say these things in public. I don't agree. And even if you don't want to blame your team and you want to say something in public, it doesn't have to be what he said. What he said is a complete total lack of accountability. Man United did not play with any sort of urgency or any sort of, because there's something I always say that sometimes that you see teams that are not good enough will go into a game that they are clearly the less better, like the lower quality side, but due to strategy, organization, effort, they will compete. They might not win, but they will compete. You see that, okay, these people, they've come out to try to do something in this game. They did not just come out to the mindset that these people are miles better than us and they are going to win us. That's the way they played. You can't because, and that starts, I don't care whatever anyone wants to say, that starts with the manager. See, people think that you cannot make mistake multiple times in hiring a manager. It's possible for you to change 5 managers and continue to make mistakes, because that's where the problem of who are the people at the hierarchy, and that's where that problem is. Then what was the conversation? Because the truth is, if the person at the hierarchy does not even really know what he's doing, that means what kind of conversation did he have with the manager before the manager came in for him to gauge that this is the right person with the right mentality for us, for him to gauge that this person knows the kind of talent that will actually work for us, for him to not go and start picking managers from picking players from the manager's contact list
It's
or
contact
the
list.
manager's agent, his agents, parties, or some, and start bringing them to the club. See, and it's sad to say this, but even on that only, Man United would never give this kind of effort. They might be outclassed, they might be outplayed, the technique might not work, but in terms of effort, it was just poor. It was poor, and that's one of the things I had. That's one of the problem I had to come and then not being able to physically prepare your team for the game. It's as if maybe they're just in the dressing room and training room, just moving around, playing and stuff like that. They're not taking it seriously, because you cannot tell me. I don't care. The Brighton players, they are good. Yes, they're better than United players, but the gap is not like this. It's not. The gap is not.
It's not even
Brighton
better.
supposed to go 5-7. No, the gap is not like that.
It's not even a case of better. Because I don't think anybody here would say, oh, maybe Mitoma, or you won't take Brighton players over Man United players. They're not going to take Pascal Gross over Casemiro.
Do you get? There are some. Maybe
I'm not going to take Lallana over Bruno Fernandes.
Let's even think. I'm trying to think of who. Maybe Mitoma. Yeah, maybe Mitoma.
Yes, I said only Mitoma.
He used Welbeck. Welbeck is also being a retirement home, and they use Welbeck to flog and dash area for Manchester United. Like,
exactly.
I just forget about players, and these guys have spent money on the
Let's not expense at all.
And so the thing is, as a player, if your own manager is not even taking accountability for what he is doing wrong or what he has not done right, how would Jadon Sancho go to New York to go and party? No, if the manager himself is not able to come to the media and say, "Oh, I failed to prepare my team adequately. There are some things we missed in our we'll work on it during the training." And if he himself cannot come out and take accountability, how is he able to go and to the dressing room and force them to change or force the kind of changes he wants? Because the players will be looking at you that, guy, you said it's referee that is the fault now, so that means you should have won. So why are you complaining? Is it true now? Because you came out against Arsenal for almost 3 weeks with no hear word throughout the international break that is referee line and whatever. Okay, since you said it's referee that was at fault, that means you should have won. That means we don't need to change anything.
Exactly. That means we're playing well.
Yeah. So the guy is delusional, and I don't think Man United has got to their last ball.
You know
when you're downloading updates. You know when you're downloading updates for iPhone. Let's say you have got it to 65%. Your data now finish. If your data should finish is a problem, because if your data finish at 65% while your iPhone is downloading, now your phone can hang. Your phone. You might start misbehaving. So I think Ten Hag is Pep that downloaded up to 45% of the update. He don't have finish. He didn't push it. So that's what is going on. But I don't wish them well. I'm sorry. I don't let
Bolish mentioned something about hierarchy discussions. I want to take a leave out of Gabriel McCarthy's book here, because when Ten Hag signed all these players, he kept telling the world that, I'm trying to build the best transition team ever in the history of football, blah, blah, blah. When I was in Go Ahead Eagles, my coaching was different from when I was in Ajax, all those things. Like, he kept saying all those things. Then McCarthy said that there's a reason why Man United went to appoint Ten Hag. They saw the way his Ajax team played, similar to Barcelona in terms of style, dominate, control the ball, the way, like what Brighton did to them at Old Trafford. That was why Man United hierarchy decided, we like this guy, let's go and appoint him. So how do you get to a point whereby the manager that you appointed for a particular type of style of play is suddenly telling you that, don't worry about that thing. I don't want Fufu anymore. It's Amala I want. Like, who upstairs? I said this on one particular pod, like this season, that somebody upstairs should have told Ten Hag that we're not signing Anthony. Not because he has issues off the field, but because it's too expensive and time has gone. Who upstairs again is going to call Ten Hag to and said, there's a reason why we went for you. This is what we're trying to achieve. You're not going in that direction. You can't just be everybody looking at him and be like, we'll sign players from your contact list, we'll let you do whatever it is that you want. That's not how to run a football club.
Yeah, the problem is definitely upstairs, and I think one of the things that's most telling is the fact that Ten Hag was like, the way he's coaching, the way he coached at Groningen good was not the same as the way he coached at Bayern second team or the way Ajax. I think it also speaks to the fact that the United hierarchy, they did not sign a manager because of his certain playing style. It was obvious they signed Ten Hag because he got to the semi-finals. They did not care about the play. They were just like, oh yes, maybe he's the fancy manager now. Let's get him because someone else does. Because that is the only explanation for this. Because you can't sign someone who is known for adapting throughout the time. Then you say, okay, yes, we want a particular style from you, and not just that. If you say you want a particular style from this manager, you should be the one leading the charge in terms of players to sign. Not the fact that you let him be like, oh yes, okay, he knows this contact, let him get this player. Then why are there rumors for Ogazi or Taliafico because he has played with the Hag before? What's the recruitment? Like, it doesn't make now. So it does. Again, it feels like United's approach is not even scattergun. It's just whatever happens, and they've been doing it for it's been 10 years since regular, and they say whatever happens. Like, at some point, that policy has to go.
Anyway, I'm sure they will be good. You guys are changing of policy. The Champions League returns on Tuesday. There's a Champions League piece.
Wait. We cannot just go like that. I cannot be on this podcast and we don't talk about the best and the most beautiful thing in the sport of football. I don't understand what kind of arrangement is all this you are doing. You just want to jump. We talk about the woeful nature of Manchester United. We have to talk about the sweet nature of Barcelona. You can't just be pushing negativity and bad vibes.
Polish. I was going to come to Barcelona. If you were patient enough, I was going to come to Barcelona.
Patient dog. You know what is a do patient dog? You don't see that picture now. What is do patient dog? You know I'm now. I don't want that to happen to me, I beg. So I think it's good to say that we have some quality in that squad. And I think apart from we have quality depth. Before last season, for example, when we have in the Champions League, for example, we had 3-4 injuries, that was the end for us. We could not come up with any kind of quality addition. But we've upgraded from Sergio Roberto and Sergio Dest at right back, which is Keke Napep and Okada. Not
to a Ferrari,
to Cancelo. And the guy, you know why I like the guy? The guy is not just about his fitness and his pace and he's always defending and he's running. Is that up front is not a -1. You know what you have? This is like the first time I've seen our right back flank. We've always gotten solid stuff. Jordi Alba, Balde, like we've always Abidal added over to Jordi Alba, made sense. Then gave to Balde, makes sense. But our right back will be suffering. This is the first time we've gotten like quality from, because when you know that okay, your right back can produce quality in the final third, crosses, passes, can take the shot. It makes they can't clog the midfielders. They always do every time. And then you can have people like João Felix coming in, Gundogan, Pedri when he's back. So I'm excited for what you can achieve with this team. I think
the beauty a lot of people are not paying attention to over the weekend is Barcelona beat a very good Betis side. Betis have been impressive.
I made it look easy.
At the end of last season, even this season as well. Like I even tipped them to finish top 4 because of Pellegrini and the kind of squad. But Barcelona were very convincing, not just going forward in terms of even stopping Betis from playing, because that's a different thing to do. Like you're stopping Betis from playing. Like they have the boast of quality midfielders in this school, Guido Rodriguez and co. Like even on the wing, they have players like Luis Enrique. So for Barcelona to have completely stifled them, controlled the game, and scored that amount of goals shows that yes, I know that the reason why I said I was coming back to Champions League is in Kunle's article, there's no outstanding favorites. But Kunle, is it a case of when you see the way Barcelona played on Saturday, are you looking at it that okay, a few more tweaks and they can be one of the teams?
Yeah, like for me, and I mentioned it in the preview, like one of the things I have about is not even maybe the upgrade or the lack of quality they had last season or the quality they have improved on this season. Is the fact that in mainstream Europe, do you really care about Barcelona at this point? Like for the past 2 years, have you really like bothered like Barcelona and Champions League? Have you really like concerned yourself with them? Because it feels like a lot of Barcelona stuff kind of peter out, and I think that was what even Boris can allude to that, especially in the era of Koeman. Because when they go to Champions, League, like go to Champions, get Champions League and leave. That is basically it. And even now, say, I'm still not. I don't want to say convinced. I'm still not interested in whatever Barcelona want to do, because they have not like made that kind of claim on the content that I'm like, oh yes, this is the Barcelona of 2015. This is the Barcelona like
to an extent. To an extent, I agree with Kule in that, because before you can't just, you have to run before you fly. So I understand what you're saying, because for like 2+ years we've been a non-factor in the Champions League. So before we can start talking about being a contender, we have to first show proper form, like not just checking out games, like dominate and have good games in group stage, and then probably we'll get the right kind of draw. But the reason why I'm a bit more optimistic than I would have been before is that we literally have people like Inigo Martinez, who is a quality centre back that is on the bench, that he's not even getting to play, even though Araujo is injured. So if we have to play pacey teams, we don't have to start substituting Araujo or Koundé to the right back, because our right back cannot play against pacey teams. So we can actually play Cancelo there, play Araujo or Koundé, and Koundé has been so impressive. Like, there have been so many outstanding guys that Koundé said he wanted to play centre back, and I see the reason why. The guy has been so like dominant presence, calm, anticipation, speed, everything that we need from a proper centre back. And he's also very good with the ball at his feet. So and Romeo too has also shown promise. And the fact that Ferran has really picked up form, scored the first free kick we've ever scored since Messi left in an official game. You have that ability to interchange depending on who you are playing against, and make switches. So I'm optimistic, but I don't think we are close to anything called favorite. But I think that a quarter-final finish is possible, and even going further than the quarter-final, because by the time we get to January, mind you, Victor Roque is coming to join the squad. So we'll have more quality attacking options. So it's really an exciting time to be a Barcelona fan. And to round it up, Xavi is actually this is like his second full season. The first one was an half season. He took over the squad in the Sarri and everything. The second one, he had to, Messi left. They don't know what's going on, what's happening. This is the first time he has asked for some things, and they've come back to him. So I'm excited, and Deco and Xavi, it looks like they know what they want and they are communicating. So I'm excited for this season. I'm much more excited for Xavi 3 years from now, 4 years from now, after he has been in the squad, when the club is a bit more financially able and stuff like that. So I'm really impressed with what they have done with the squad. Laporta is the man.
So now I'll just jump through the Champions League groupings and focus on the groups and who you guys think would qualify from the group, and who you think would be the biggest shock in the group. Because obviously now I'm looking at Group A and I can see Bayern, Galatasaray, Copenhagen, and Man United. And putting on paper, you would expect that, okay, Bayern and Man United qualify from the group. Bayern probably win the group, because Bayern have this thing that they do to other teams sometimes in the group that you cannot bet against them. But stranger things have happened. Playing in Turkey is a different ball game. This is the case of whereby Galatasaray, with that depth of Icardi, Zaha, and a few other players, can they pull off a shock and send Man United to the Europa League?
Yeah, I definitely think they can, especially in the way United have started this season, and the fact that United start this season, the Champions League season against Bayern Munich. A bad result here, solely by game 2, they're under pressure. And once you have 2 bad results in a row in your Champions League group, you start scrambling. And I genuinely think if you guys get on the right foot, they might get somewhere. I still see Bayern and United going through, but it's going to be a lot closer than I would have said maybe a month ago.
Okay. Polish Group B, Sevilla, PSV, Arsenal, and Lens. And there are people that will tell you that as far as Sevilla are concerned, this Champions League is a border. Like, we need to go back to where we want to be. Do you understand? You know where we want to be. Everybody knows where we want to be. So let's just finish third and go there.
Like, I agree with you 100%. Like, I can almost see, for some reason, Sevilla will draw to Lens, lose to PSV, play rubbish against Arsenal. Then when it's now 3 games to go, they'll win, and then they'll almost they finish third.
Back to where they want
Just
to
go
be.
to their normal location and go and do their thing. So, but I think because, to be honest, PSV are a really good side. But you know, until we see them in Europe, we don't really have a sense or a gauge for how quality their side. And then they lost a lot of talent. You know, one of the most important talent they lost is Javi Simons. He was one of their main players last season. He's now in
Their top
Leipzig.
scorer contributed more assists and everything. Like,
So
nobody-
we don't know what we are getting from them. So
they even lost
But
Sangare
other
again.
than-
Definitely.
and the Lens side, yes, they have not kicked up as they should, but they can be tricky in terms of taking points away from from the other teams. But I think Arsenal probably lead the group, and then PSV are second to go through, because Sevilla will probably want to go to their Europa in peace.
Kule, I think one of the best stories in Bundesliga is the story of Union Berlin, who got promoted about 3 years ago, and suddenly they are in the Champions League now. And the match they won, they are traveling to Real Madrid to face Real Madrid. Like, the story of the club itself has been amazing. But now when you find yourself in a group with Braga, Napoli, Real Madrid, like, I'm sure Union will be looking at it that whatever it is that we get from the Champions League, we'll be fine. We'll just take it and leave.
Yeah, I think Union are probably the one team in Europe top 5 league in Champions League who are like, well, anything goes, because they still don't have like expectations in the team. I know they really like being small, and sometimes even there were fans last season who were like they didn't want the club to get to the Champions League. They didn't want to start feeling bigger than themselves, which is an incredible thing. Strangely enough, I think Union will beat Real Madrid on this week, but they wouldn't go to get past this group. I still think it's Real and Napoli, but I feel like Union have the kind of stories Union have written for themselves in the past 4 years. They're going to put like a big result and maybe find a win in Europa League or something.
So you said Union will beat Madrid.
I said during the week that they might shock them, but they might not even qualify. So anyway, we saw what's the name of this
put
funny
our
thing
house strength on it.
Yeah,
Is that a
we saw
prediction?
Sheriff do it 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
Sheriff Tiraspol.
Like,
Sheriff Tiraspol win at the Bernabeu.
He's currently at 7.5 odds. But just as a side note, Kunle is our resident Drake. If you understand betting, you understand.
You understand me?
You understand me? So he's currently at 7.5 odds. Kunle says you should go and put your house rent and your school fees so that you can live life. Don't allow your school fees to deny you from living La Vida Loca. But just to remind you, Kunle is our resident Drake on this podcast.
Polish Group D has Benfica, Inter, Salzburg, and Sociedad. Like, I saw Sociedad play over the weekend. Like, they are still, like, Emmanuel Aguachi's side are a very good side. But the group looks like, okay, this is a group whereby we saw Inter become finalists last year. But with Inter, you never can predict. 1 minute they're finishing third, the next minute they are beating Barcelona to qualify from their group. So I'm sure Benfica and Sociedad will look at it and say, if we do well, there's a chance of us qualifying from this group.
So the thing with Benfica is they are never poor enough not to qualify for the round of 16. They would always be solid and good enough to make the round of 16. Only the problem is they might lose at the round of 16, but they will always be that, they always have quality. They have a very excellent scouting system, both from from South America and even from the Portuguese league. And Inter look really, 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 really strong. Like, they look like a very solid side. The additions, are panning out. Yes, it's early stages in the season, but they look really strong. So I think it's going to be Inter Benfica. So Sociedad will probably join Sevilla in the Europa League.
But speaking of Spanish teams, I know that Atletico Madrid struggled massively last year. They didn't even fail to. They didn't even go to the Europa League when they struggled last year. They went out of Europe completely in the group stages. But this time around, they have a more exciting group. Exciting in the sense that they are playing attacking teams in Feyenoord and Lazio and Celtic. And trust Atletico Madrid to frustrate the life out of you. They might not necessarily score because they struggled to score goals last year by this time in the group stages. But this time around, you would expect that, okay, it can't be that bad. This is a team that we're used to seeing in the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. Something has to change for Atletico this year. If not, the fans might start calling for some players' head.
So up until the loss to Valencia this weekend, I've been looking at what they've been doing in the league, and they've actually been, their XG, what they're doing in the league, they've actually been making sense. They've been scoring some crazy goals too. And they have some options up front. They have some options in attack that really make sense. Not like they're top tier, but obviously they are not trying to swing to Barcelona, so they are playing Griezmann now. I think based on the pedigree, the quality of defense they have, and the fact that they are able to at least score some more goals going up front this year, I think they should qualify from the group. At least they should be second. I'm looking at Lazio that you told me is the best thing after Thierry Henry and sliced bread combined. Oshisco PFC, they're not playing anything. There's one day I played, they were the last thing on my ticket. And I said, okay, let me go and watch here. I don't like watching here. What's going on? See now? I was watching here. Cross and Bude, cross and O, cross and I'm like, what's this? What is this? The cigar man has not done
it. Are you sure you were watching Lazio? Because Lazio don't cross the ball. Sarri's team like to pass the ball.
The game they lost 1-0. Is it?
Yep. I think I'm talking about. No, Hellas Verona.
Verona. No, is it Verona? 2 weeks. The weekend before the international break.
Yes, Hellas Verona. Yes. They used the post 3 times.
Cross and nod. Cross and O. Cross and O. Cross. I'm like, what's going on here? So I'm not that buoyant about how good they will be. Yes, they have some nice additions, but sometimes you need those additions to come together and actually do well on the pitch. So I think Atletico would qualify from the group.
You can take it up with Kunle. PSG. I know that PSG are not favorites on in your article and stuff like that, and they find themselves in a very, I don't want to say that's group of dates. On paper, it's group of dates, but it's still an exciting group because you have PSG, you have Milan. If you overlook what happened over the weekend when Milan were absolutely dismantled by their rivals, they have Newcastle. They struggle to start the season properly, but they are still a very good side. And they have Dortmund. These are teams on paper that can score goals, going forward, want to score goals. And PSG be looking at it that, okay, defensively, in the middle of the park, we're not the best, but PSG, we like to buy players in front to score goals and excite the fans and lose in the second round. But these group stages, we have all the opportunity to play well against both Milan, Newcastle, and Dortmund.
Yeah, incredibly enough, a lot of people have dubbed this the group of death. And honestly, I feel like in this group, PSG are the only team, despite the fact that PSG are not
group of death.
That look normal. Because let's be honest, we cannot trust Dortmund again after all these years. Like that one is not even on the table. Newcastle are still raw, and Milan are still quite inconsistent. And honestly, I feel like the one guarantee in this group is that PSG will go through probably easily. So if I'm going to take my neck and make a prediction, I'll say PSG and Newcastle, or maybe PSG and Milan. But I do not see Dortmund getting out of this group.
Wow, Dortmund fans in Germany will probably be somewhere protesting. Are you for real? So that means you don't have Newcastle even coming out of the group.
Yeah, I probably fancy Newcastle might beat Milan to that. I think
they need to sack Milan
and Newcastle.
To Group G. So I don't even know why we bother Man City with the group stages because I don't know how they get it done. Their group stages draws are always very funny. Like they play teams now because it's Man City, Leipzig, Young Boys, and Red Star Belgrade. And you're like, even if Guardiola decides to rotate against Young Boys and Red Star Belgrade, it's still going to be 4-4. These are the teams that Haaland will use to build top scorer in the Champions League. Sharp. So you already know that, okay, Man City are winning. It's by how many points and how many goals difference. Then all of that things being equal, Leipzig should follow.
Yeah, it's the thing about Masters groups in Champions League these days. I feel like Masters are going to finish first with 16 points. Then because once they beat everyone else, team that finished second now finish with like 7 or 6. Because I don't manage to screw. We've seen it over the past few years. So I feel like Leipzig are probably still second favorites. But even the gap between them and Masters is still going to be enormous. But it has to be both of them. It has to be the two teams. Because Red Star and the other do not have any firepower to get past this group.
They are the young boys. This is a competition for men. What are young boys? And also we need to actually, the way they play, the fact that they won the treble last season, and I was seeing videos coming out from the Man City locker room. I saw one video where I think it was Kyle Walker or Rodri that was saying, let's not, like, we made it too close in the past season. Let's not make it close this time around. Like, I'm like, you even want treble. They're like, let us start. Like, last season, we were slow from the gate. Like, we did not run away with the league title. We did not, we did not push our effort. Let us run away. Like, let us. I said, this was, so the mentality of the players that Pep bought, and the fact that there's a healthy mix of Vardio, Josko Vardio has not won anything, Doku has not won anything. Like, guys are still, and Eli Haaland's mindset. That's what I like about Haaland. His mentality is crazy. So when you have stuff like that, Leipzig they will chop it. Maybe they will draw one game, but that group, Man City is going to use them to do target practice.
I think the final group has Polish, Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Royal Antwerp. And unless a tsunami happens, I know Barcelona moved from the Camp Nou to a different stadium now. Unless a tsunami happens in the whole of Catalonia, I do not see how Barcelona. It's not even about qualifying from the group; it's about winning the group. Because Antwerp.
So the way I looked at the group and I said, okay, if we don't get 10 points, I'm never talking about score. If we don't get 10 points from the fixtures between Antwerp and Shakhtar, because Shakhtar they never have home. They're not playing their home. Homeless people cannot come and be threatening us. I'm sorry. Hey, sorry. I'm sorry for the war. I'm not trying to make a light of the war, but I don't believe that homeless people should be taking us should be giving us trouble. So if we cannot get 10 points from those two, then we don't deserve to qualify. Actually, even if we qualify, I won't be excited or interested. It will show that we have not, because we need to show, because we've not had a good outing in a while. So it's not just about qualifying. We have to qualify well to show that, okay, we've built all those jitters all those after Messi, because since Messi left, we've not qualified from the group stage. It's almost like we've not done anything in Champions League since Messi left. So we need to show that, okay, we've progressed, we've grown, we've dusted the cobwebs, and then say, okay, now we are now a team that's a Champions League team. So I think we'll do well. We'll top the group. I see us getting at least maybe 13 points, topping the group.
Away from football itself, down to America, the NFL happened over the weekend. I hope no team broke your heart, but I think it was, aside from the fact that we saw that the Cowboys are good defensively, I don't know if there was any shocking results for you, because I saw the Bengals offense at some point and I was wondering, something is happening here. Like, the Bengals, I know they struggled last week against the Browns, but something is definitely happening here. Like, they don't look like they are at it yet. They don't look like they are at the races yet. And that was my own performance.
So the thing I picked from the Bengals result is that you cannot have a calf injury and you're a quarterback that needs to move with your feet
around the pocket,
escape the pocket, stay in the pocket. You cannot have a calf injury and have a good game. It's not.
Wait, are you saying they brought Burrow back too early?
Yeah, it's too early, and I think they should have protected him from himself. I think what happened was that he signed the contract, everybody was feeling good vibes, but still they should have looked at it and said, okay, it's better for us to go 0-2 and then with the mindset that an elder rested ankle or calf Joboro is coming back for game 3 than what is going on now, because now there's doubts about Joboro's
Play
health.
availability for next week, yes.
So imagine they go into game 3 and 4 without Joboro. That means you're almost going to go maybe 1 and 3 or 4 or 0 and 4. So it's something that they should have, because the timeline that they gave initially for the injury and the time he came back was too short. They should have probably saved him from himself. But other than that, I think most of the teams are doing well and doing according to what they're supposed to do. The Giants will have, they will have been the joke of the town if they didn't win that game against the Cardinals, because
it's funny.
In the whole NFL knows that the Cardinals are tanking.
Everybody, even those that don't watch the NFL, know that the Cardinals are tanking.
So I don't know how, I don't know why they made it. I didn't watch that game because I obviously had better things to do than to be watching Giants and Cardinals. But I didn't watch that game, so I was checking my phone and what's going on? What's happening? I was watching all that games. I'm like, what's happening in this game? So it's good they won. The other result that I want to shed light to, because they are now 0-2 also, and they don't look all right, is the Chargers. And
I was going to mention them.
You brought in an offensive coordinator that is supposed to come and smoothen things and make things better, and still it looks like it's as if they are my battery. Sorry,
can I even interrupt you there? Because last season, after we saw them fall apart like a pack of cards in the playoffs, I know that they sacked the offensive coordinator and they brought in a new one. And I even wrote it in my preview that it was easy for the head coach to say, oh, the problem is the offensive coordinator. Let's face the offensive coordinator. It's the reason why we fell apart like a pack of cards. But we forget that his players questioned his decisions last season, like both on the field and off the field. Like Brandon Staley has been found wanting. The Chargers have talent on both sides of the ball, like defensively, offensively. They are loaded. They spent a lot of money 2 years ago in free agency, but he can't just bring it together. So when they now decided that, okay, you know what, let's sack our offensive coordinator and bring another one, and see how things are going, it was deviating the blame completely from the fact that their head coach itself has been found wanting.
And also not considering the fact that in that playoff game that they lost, they were actually up 27. So they should have, like, they should not have lost that game. They should not have lost that game. So what I think is probably going to happen if he has a skill like this, because you just paid your quarterback $260 million, so you are not tanking. You are not tanking.
So, they are loaded everywhere. Yes,
they are loaded. So if you are losing again and you lose the next game or next 2 games, I think you'll probably get the boot, because he should not. I think he should not have even resumed the season with them. He should have gotten a better coach.
Yeah, it was. How do I put it? It was a bad decision that during the offseason. You lost 27-0. It's not as if you didn't score points. You scored 27 points in the you scored 24 in the first half. You scored 3 in the second half. You now said, oh, the reason why we lost, or the reason why our coach keeps making all these bad decisions was the offensive coordinator, and you changed the coordinator.
I also need to bring up Nathaniel Hackett.
For the New York Jets.
He's on serious fraud watch, because I don't know how you watch Cowboys play against Giants game 1, and you saw the pass rush defense, and you saw how they were getting the quarterback every minute. And in your brain and your game plan and your mind, you decided that the next thing you are going to do is make Zach Wilson, of all people, to throw the ball against the Cowboys defense. The Cowboys defense has Stephen Gilmore and
I'll give you the best defense in the league.
That's the best defense. You want Zach Wilson that is seriously and terribly atrocious. And I think people easily forget. Once you win a game, they forget what happened during the game.
Yeah,
so
they're not able to
put into context what's going on. Now, you are telling me that Josh Allen had 4 turnovers, 3 picks, and 1 fumble, and you guys were not able to win until you won on a punt return. So that means Zach Wilson, what did Zach Wilson do throughout the game? He was able to throw 1 touchdown. And that 1 touchdown that he threw to Garrett Wilson
It was a short pass by Wilson, and Wilson ran.
I'm not talking about this game. I'm talking about the first game.
Okay, the first game.
That
Okay,
was
the
a
first
bumble. Wilson was literally playing volleyball.
Yeah, it took the ball from the defender.
Took the ball, maintained it before he made the catch. Then this one was a short drop off and then straight to. So if you have that kind of quarterback that you literally spent, you told Green Bay, don't worry, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. Oh, don't worry, we'll take salary, because you knew you did not have a quarterback. Why don't you now make this easy for him by running the ball? And you have Brissol and Dalvin Cook, and Brissol had just four carries. Four. So Nathaniel Hackett is on serious fraud watch. I know they probably will not be able to sack him because Aaron Rodgers is coming back, and he and Aaron Rodgers will bring beer and smoke shisha together. But other than that, there's some people you see them, I feel like these guys should not be, he should not be part of an NFL roster.
Speaking of offensive coordinators, I think this weekend Eric Bieniemy proved the reason why a lot of people believe he should have been a head coach. The Commanders were down in the first half, like the Broncos were leading them by 14 or 18 points or thereabout. The play calling that he delivered, the masterclass he delivered in that second half was out of this world. Even Tyreek Hill had to tweet that there's a reason why I've always raved about this man as an offensive coordinator. Like, Sam Howell was balling, they ran the ball. There was a balance between passing and running the ball very well. James Robinson ran the ball very well. Sam Howell was balling that second half. And you're like, is it that when he goes for the interviews, he doesn't respond the way they like or what? This guy is obviously talented as a coordinator.
See, if there's one thing that is clear in the NFL, the interviews happen on a yacht. It happens on a vacation with their brother-in-law and the sister-in-law that knows the person, or it happens on an alumni get-together. That if, for example, it's not like Eric Bieniemy, if he did not go to a Ivy League school, or if he's not white, so he does not have those friends that are white, he will not get that. See, when people don't want to give you job, I've seen some people that have resumed, some companies have worked in the past, some that have resumed, and I'm like, and they say they did interview for you. How did you pass in the interview? So we've seen, we literally saw an ESPN analyst go from the table analyzing, and the next day he got the job as an head coach. Not offensive coordinator, not offensive coordinator. He got the job as an head coach. I'm not for Indiana, for the Colts last year. What's the name of that guy? Their former offensive line.
Former offensive lineman. Yes.
So you have cases like that. So I don't think all those interview all those things is just a cover up for. I don't want to hang out with this guy, because if you are the head coach, when they go for some yacht events, when they go to this, they have to come online to the private jets. They have to go together. Go for. They don't want. See what happened to Brian Flores now. Everybody knows Brian Flores. He was dealt a very, very unfair hand. So that aspect of interview, what it's not actually asking him the ideas. It's football they're asking him. So that aspect, I've never believed that aspect. Yes, he might have maybe a tough way about him or a tough nature about him, but I think the number one thing is that I might not even. Yes, there's some sort of racism involved, but I think it's more of the clique,
the institution.
Yeah. It's the same. Like before, someone gave Deion Sanders a job, they had to confirm. They had to let him go and prove himself. When they saw what was going on, they're like, this guy, what is doing? If we bring this guy to our town, the mayor of Colorado at the moment is probably, already using Deion's presence to campaign for his re-election or something, because the economy.
The funny part is that the Denver Nuggets, people don't know that the Nuggets are in Colorado too. They don't pull this kind of attention. They don't pull this kind of attention.
That's the NBA champion, though. The NBA champion, the current NBA champion. They didn't have this kind of crowd. Nobody even talk about Colorado like that. We were just talking about Nikola Jokic. We didn't care about the town. But Deion is is just a marketing genius. Apart from I was looking at a small snippet. I'll probably watch a few. There's like a documentary about him, and he said in a week he went, played the baseball game, he got an home run, got 2 hits. Like, he played exhausted baseball game, he did not practice, came to the NFL game that same week, not another time, the same week. And the first play of the game, he had a punt return. He returned the kickoff, kickoff return to the house.
For a touchdown.
Like,
yes.
so he's bold, bravado, everything, and he backs it up. So it's exciting what he's doing.
We talk about Travis Hunter is player being able to play on both sides of the ball. Deion Sanders was that guy in the NFL, and he was doing multiple sports. We've seen Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray leave baseball to come to football and come and play. Deion Sanders was playing both in his time. That okay, today play.
He played the World Series. Like he didn't just play. He played the World Series. Like he played baseball for 8 years. He played the World Series.
Yes.
He just lost in the final, but he actually played in the World Series. So he was that good.
He was playing both. Like, he was that special. And one of the reasons what I even made it special was that when you say, like, you can back the talk, like you can walk the walk, talk the talk and walk the walk. The way Deion dressed, the journalists didn't like it for a black guy to be that expressive at that point. And he said this, that you look good, you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. You play good, they pay good. I don't care. Like, this is who I am.
I saw a video of him in maybe 1991 or something like that, with all the chain on his neck and I think it was he came back to the Atlanta Falcons to play in their stadium, and he was telling, after I think he destroyed them on the pitch after the game, and I was telling all the reporters, said, I told you this is my house, I built it. See, the fact that he has been consistent the way he behaves is just exciting, and it's crazy. The amount of attention he's bringing is almost like he sold $1.8 million worth of glasses. He said he was he said he was already planning, because he has his special glasses that he makes. You know, he's signed to Nike. He does some things with Nike shirt, the kit. The cleats that Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are wearing is prime, with Nike collaboration. So he said he likes wearing shades. So he has a collaboration. He's producing his own shades to sell. He said when he saw that, he said it felt like a layup when the Genovel talked about the shades. And I was like, how to release shades before? Say, you should fast track it, make it happen. And he said he sold
it to people.
He sold $1.8 million worth of shades. That guy is. But the sweet thing, or the good thing, is about the next 2 games they have to play. It will put to bed, or it will increase the noise, because they are playing Oregon and they are playing USC. Oregon is top 5. I think both of them are top 5. So they are ranked school. Obviously, USC have Caleb Williams and all the attention and the powerful offense. Their defense is not very good. But Oregon have both. Oregon are actually very good. So if he's able to come out with 1 win among those 2 games, I think it's enough bragging right, or it's enough backing for them to continue to have the attention they are getting, and then people going to see if they can even make it to a bowl and then compete. Obviously, NCAA championship might be a bit far off, but just be a respectable program, finish with 8 wins, and then try to recruit some offensive and defensive line. Huh?
What I'm going to say on that front is, I know there are people that have been sharpening their pens, waiting for Colorado to lose.
Yeah,
they are waiting for them, and at this point, they should not forget that Colorado only won 1 game last year.
And I think they will forget that. They will forget that.
I know. I'm just saying that. No, they will forget that. It's our job to remind them that this is where you are coming from. This is where you are going to. So even if he loses to Oregon and US, I know that at the first loss, the people that are already waiting, they were already tweeting when Colorado State was leading. They were already tweeting that blah 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 until Shedeur decided that, you know what, not in my house. We're not losing this game. So it's ready mode then here, like you mentioned. So yes, we are playing against Caleb Williams and USC and Oregon, two top five schools. It's going to be difficult. But in my own opinion, what Prime has done at this point is beyond what anybody in that school, state, in that country expected. There were people that were saying, "Ah, forget it. What it did was that was an HBC university, not a top 10, not a top 15, not in the Big Ten, blah blah blah." And he has beaten some of these teams that you said he has no chance against, with some very good plays for that matter. So regard me, as far as I'm concerned, like you mentioned, he's going to build that program in a way that all high school talents have to look at it that okay, I want to go to Colorado to go and play. I want to go and play for Deion Sanders and see what it's going to like. I really want to play under him.
I think there are probably some talents that I spoke with this year that said, "Ah, I already have an offer from Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia. Coach, I think I don't know what's going to happen because it's an unknown quantity." But every game that they've played in Colorado, there's ESPN or Fox, there's all the rappers, all the celebrities, basketball players, everyone are there. It's fun. The players are enjoying themselves. The training session. Sometimes I watch some of their training sessions. It's fun. You see some Warren Sapp, Michael Irvin. You see quality guys coming to their locker room. I think what will happen is by the time it's recruiting this time around, some of the players that said no before, they've seen sample size. Almost all the players, the ones that are good, they will have NIL deals for days. And Deion is such a marketing genius that in their practice session, their handles, their Instagram handles is what is at their back. So if you see someone you like or you see someone face, you can go and follow him and stuff like that. So anyone that is watching what's going on and they know that they are good and they feel like, oh, I can add something to this offensive line, this defensive line, they probably already be testing Deion now. Deion, come and take me, I'm coming. So I think that's the beauty of having this kind of early success and then this kind of marketability so that you can attract talent and then, see if you can, because the goal is if by the third year you have the depth and squad enough to compete for the championship. If you get to the championship title, that would have been a very extremely successful reign as a manager because they literally have been nonsense and garbage for 10 years. So just even getting to 7 wins this year alone is success, 7 to 8 wins, then add more, be more comfortable in the conference, then the third season, see if you can compete for the NCAA.
Our time is fast spent. At this point, it's really right to call it a night. And until next week, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us. Don't forget that you can listen to the pod, watch the full episode on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe to our channel. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is you listen to your podcast as well on Google. Hey, Joe, like Polish is begging. We're looking for money. There's Agbado economy is not favoring anybody. It's crazy. It's really crazy. On that note, good night, everybody. Have a lovely week ahead and stay safe out there.